Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse, and tonight Davey Cretin is here. We are continuing our STYX series. Tonight we are looking at The Serpent is Rising from 1973 and Man of Miracles from 1974. We want to hear from you in the comment section. You like these records? How would you rate them? Let's do it.
Grant is changing the world one track at a time on Grant's Rock Warehouse.
Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse and to episode 2 in our STYX series. Tonight we are taking a look at the 1973 album on Wood Nickel, The Serpent is Rising, and the 1974 album, also on Wood Nickel, Man of Miracles. I want to welcome Davey Cretin to the show. Davey, how are you? Nice to see you.
I'm great. Grant, how are you doing?
Good. We were talking beforehand that the previous show we did live, and I couldn't remember if we did it live or not, but darn it, we're going to record this one, but we can do the next ones live. But all this really is, ladies and gentlemen, is that we're sitting here just wanting to talk some STYX. Davey and I love STYX. A lot of people don't talk about these Wood and Nickel records. So really, we're trying to turn you on to these records. And are they worthy for you to pick up? Because a lot of people know, Paradise Theater, Grand Illusion, but no one's really talking about Serpent is Rising. And we're just going to go through the whole catalog and cover STYX. It's going to take us forever, but we're going to do it. So like I said, we're going to talk Serpent is Rising. That album came out in 1973, came out on Wood and Nickel. If anybody remembers, like in 1980 when STYX was taken off, Paradise Theater was released, blah, blah, blah. They reissued this record, and I'm going to pop up the reissue cover here now. They renamed it Serpent, and it came out, I think it was on RCA, wasn't it, Davey?
Yes, with a horribly cheesy cover. They reissued the first 4 albums, the Wood and Nickel albums, with slightly different names on most of them and cheesy covers. Just horrible cartoon.
It was a sin. It's sinful. But anyway, well, there it is. It's up there so you can see it. Anyway, this record, back in the day when this came out in 1973, peaked at 192 on the Billboard 200. This didn't really make any ripples within the music community at all, and it sold fewer than like 100,000 copies. This is also considered, if you've ever heard Dennis DeYoung talk about this, I think he might have said this on Sea of Tranquility, that he thought that this was just the worst record that STYX ever produced. Now, I listened to this record, and I don't hear it that way. I'm not sure what he's complaining about. Is it the production? Because it doesn't sound any different than the other Wood and Nickel albums to my ears.
Right.
I don't know.
agree with you. Well,
let's just talk about, Dave, take it away. Talk a little bit about the record. Maybe we can decide what is Dennis hearing that we're not. I don't know.
Well, he is quoted indirectly as saying one of the worst recorded and produced albums in the history of music. And I think he said on your friend Pete's show, I wrote a song about a pirate and bleep, and I'm going to leave that blank until we get to that song because I don't want to say that on your show.
But you know what's funny? This is produced by STYX and Barry Mraz.
Right.
Produced all the other stuff too. This is just, you know what I mean? I think Barry was on everything. He engineered, co-produced everything up until, can't remember. But I know he did Grand Illusion. He did Pieces of 8. I'm pretty sure. I think it might have changed on Cornerstone because that's when the sound changed.
And he's not on Man of Miracles, oddly enough. But the thing about this album, the reason I think that Dennis hates it is because it came out exactly 3 months to the day after STYX 2. STYX 2 came out July 1st, 73. This came out October 1st of 1973. Who was doing records 2 in a year, 3 months apart?
A lot of people, we're in early 70s. All the bands in the 60s until the Beatles really changed things around.
Right, but
everybody was doing 3 albums a year.
But in the early part of the year and the later part of the year, this is 3 months apart. I think they were bereft of material, and that's why John Cyrulewski has so many songwriting and co-writing credits on here. And some of his songs are a little odd, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, a good point. I know we're keeping it loose, ladies and gentlemen, because that's the way we are in the warehouse. It's loose. there's virtually hardly any Dennis on here. It's all John Kuralewski and James Young, which
Right.
I have no problem with that. But it's just funny how when you look at these wooden nickel records and they're so heavily James Young. I mean, he was a force. He was pretty much the
One of
main
the band
guy.
leaders,
Yeah. And then when you look at all that A&M period, we get one song from James Young.
One or two, yeah.
Yeah. But here it's like a totally different STYX, but it's not. Anyway, Davey, I'm sorry. Keep going. You know, you get me talking STYX, I get all worked up.
One of my favorite bands from back in the day when I first discovered them in 77. First album I ever bought on vinyl was The Grand Illusion. But we'll get to that in future episodes. But this album has 10 songs on it. And it's a 40-minute album, which I'm surprised at. It's the original lineup of Dennis DeYoung, James Cyrulewski, and the Panazzo twins on bass and drums, respectively. Recorded at Paragon Studios in Chicago. And Dennis DeYoung did the organ at the St. James Cathedral Church in Chicago. It's a loose concept album, they say, but I don't really think so. To me, it's all over the place, and it's a miracle they got 40 minutes of music together in 3 months, and that's why I think they used so much material from John Cyrulewski. And it was produced by STYX and Barry Mraz, engineered by Barry Mraz, and the cover art is by a guy named Dennis Pohl, Pohl. And I like the original cover, but not the reissue cover.
I forget. I was on some other show, and for some reason, I must have mentioned that we were going to talk about this, and someone in the panel went, "Oh, I hate that album cover." I kind of dig it.
Yeah, so do I.
I like it.
The original
cover. I don't have a problem with it. I don't know if it necessarily screams, if it's sitting in the record bin at Musicland, "Oh, buy me." I don't know if it's doing that well, but I like the album cover. Okay.
So do I. So going on to the tracks, Witch Wolf starts the album, just about 4 minutes, written by James Young and I guess a friend of his named Ray Brandel, with James Young vocals. And this is an excellent hard rock song that opens the record. And I've always loved this song. One of my favorite JY songs, I would say. Nice guitar work by James Young and John Cyrulewski. Dennis is supplying supplemental organ, and Chuck Panazzo has some really excellent contrapuntal bass runs under the choruses or in the choruses and under JY's guitar solo. He does this really nice line that you would have, as a bass player, probably caught, right?
Yeah. I want to say this. I'm going to throw this out here. Witch Wolf, you could have picked this off of this record, threw it on Equinox, and it would have fit right in.
Exactly.
So this is almost like a sign of things to come. That's the way I look at it. Probably one of the best tracks on the album. And I will mention this. You mentioned Chuck. He is on the later stuff, he seems to really take more of a back seat and just plays the minimum.
But on the early stuff, he's all over the place.
All over the place, playing bass runs, doing all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Great track. Okay, keep going. I love this. I really do like this record. So.
Yeah. Stellar guitar solo here by JY, which leads into this mellow middle 8 bridge section with some nice acoustic guitar work from John Cyrulewski, because by this album, Cyrulewski was doing all the acoustic guitars. JY's only credited with electric. And there's some really good fluttering synths from, I'm guessing, Dennis, but Cyrulewski is also credited with synths on this record. And it goes right into the final heavy 45 seconds of the song with a searing lead guitar solo from JY and a super high-pitched vocal, which you get a lot of screams on this record, and the super high ones are Cyrulewski doing that. And it has a great frenetic ending, so easily one of the top 3 songs on this record, if not the best song on this record.
Yeah. I mean, Cyrulewski's all over this record. It's just funny just to see the evolution, because, you look at Equinox and that's Cyrulewski's last record, but he's got one song, right?
Right. And he doesn't have any lead vocals.
And there's a lot of Dennis on there,
Yeah.
Not much Dennis on here, but track 2, though. Go ahead, but now we get some Dennis.
Another one of my favorites on the album, The Grove of Eglantine, 5 minutes long, written by Dennis, sung by Dennis. I've always loved this song. And our friend Sydney from Slogan's Rock and Metal Extravaganza, we were messaging each other back and forth recently, and he said that this is, quote, an ode to lady parts. So let's leave it there. And Dennis is now embarrassed by this song, but I think it's a great prog rock song. Mm-hmm. And the title song is a euphemism for you know what. Listen to the lyrics, everyone. Figure it out. That's as far as I'll go. And DDY, Dennis DeYoung, starts the song off with a nice sounding harpsichord, but it's probably just a synth that sounds like a harpsichord.
No, I think it's harpsichord.
Okay. That's pretty. It's a great sound.
I mean, there's a lot of different sounds on this record, you know? So I think it's harpsichord. I think it
sounds great. It has that classical feel intro. And then at 28 seconds, the band just kicks into the song. And you get a really sweet guitar solo by JY. And then Dennis starts singing. And once again, Chuck's bass playing. It just pops on the verses and the choruses on this song. He's so good on those early records.
Yeah.
Underrated rhythm section. I'm going to talk about John, his brother on drums, twin brother, in a little while. But I love the bass on this song. And JY's vocals on a lot of the early stuff, they just cut through the triad vocals on the choruses. You hear JY's voice louder than Dennis and John Cyrulewski.
That's a good point. I didn't really think about that. But, yeah, he's really
the
predominant.
One that just pops out.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't sing as much because he blew out his voice. I mean, when I saw them on the not the reunion tour, but when they did all of Grand Illusion and all of Paradise Theater, he had trouble singing Great White Hope and Lord of the Rings and stuff like that.
And what about Miss America?
They still do that, but he doesn't do it like he used to do it. His voice isn't what it used to be, sadly. But back in the day, he sounded 22 great.
Anymore either.
He sounded great on these early records. Mm-hmm. Where was I in my notes now? Oh, yeah, his voice cuts through the chorus. There's a great prog middle section here, interlude with some cool piano work from Dennis and another sterling JY guitar solo here. And John Panazzo has some great hi-hat playing and the occasional good drum fills breaks throughout the song. And I wish the song didn't fade out like it did, but this is another one of the highlights for me. I think maybe the best two songs are Witch Wolf and Grove of Eglantine. Yeah. I've always loved this song.
And you could call it front-loaded. I mean, they're the first two tracks, but I agree with you 100%. The two best tracks on the record, I think. There are other good songs on here, but those do stand out, you know.
Okay, next we're going to go to track 3, third song on side 1, Young Man, written by James Young and Richard Young, who I think is his brother. And James Young sings this song, and it's a hard rock proggy tune that starts off with some plaintive acoustic guitar from Cyrulewski, and then the song kicks into gear on the choruses and the second verse. And it's a very anthemic STYX song. Dennis has a wonderful organ solo midway through the song, and then the bridge is spacey with some super high lead vocals from James Young, one of the highest parts he ever sings, I think, in STYX as a lead vocal that leads into the final heavy section of the song, and you get those really high-pitched screams from John Cyrulewski. Get some crazy organ from Dennis and some grinding guitars from JY and JC. Yeah. And it's a tad cacophonous, and it's very heavy for 1973 from an American band.
Yeah.
It's a really crazy, frenetic ending again. It's a decent song. It's a good song. It's definitely not one of my favorites, but it's good.
But you're right. It's heavy. For 1973?
Yeah, from an American
band? Oh, yeah. Everybody watching, you've just got to check it out. Really. Check it out. And we do want to hear from you in the comments. So, you know, keep that in mind.
What do you think of this album? We're going to rate them after, and we want to know your ratings too, of course, on these two records. So the first side ends, and here's where it gets a little odd. It ends with a 6+ minute John Cyrulewski song that he wrote and sings called As Bad as This. And the first 3 3/4 minutes, 3:45, it's a very introspective acoustic lament. And there's some really nice percussion here and drums, some good punctuations from John Panazzo here. So it's this acoustic ballad he's singing very introspectively. Then it stops for a few seconds at the 3:45 mark. And in comes this hidden track that was actually played on the Dr. Demento show 50 plus years ago.
As well as it should.
And it's called Plexiglass Toilet. And this is only John Ciriluski and the Panazzo twins on the song. And there's rumors that Weird Al Yankovic is a big fan of this song. One of my face sakes. They used to call me Weird Al back in the day. But at any rate, this song confused me as like a young teenager when I first listened to it.
It doesn't.
I thought, what the heck is this?
It doesn't fit
exactly
the tone of the record.
And it's got this calypso beat with, I'm guessing, John Panazzo's playing like a steel drum, it sounds like. But the accent that John Ciriluski is using, it's not as bad as Genesis with the song Illegal Alien. But I think it's a maybe culturally inappropriation, you might say, on this song. So it's a little weird. You have to hear it to understand it. It's catchy, but it's just a weird way to end side one. It comes out of nowhere. And as a kid, I was like, what the heck is this?
I think part A of the track, As Bad as This.
I like that.
I like that. I think what Ciriluski's bringing to the table for this record, great stuff, but I don't understand Plexiglass Toilet. Of course, we're doing a record 3 months after the previous record. I'm assuming Wood Nichols going, all right,
give us another
boys,
record.
We need another record.
Yep.
This is just a throwaway. Yeah, Dr. Demento liked it, but this takes the album down. You can't look at this record as a serious album like, let's say it wasn't there. Just end it with As Bad as This. Though I don't think As Bad as This would be a good ending for the record. I'd rather have it end with an uplifting rock number, but still I'd rather have this album without Plexiglass Toilet, because I think it just takes away from its pedigree, so to speak. But it's fine as a novelty song, but yeah.
And you guys, you have to hear this song. You can go to YouTube or Spotify, your listening app of choice, and go just search for STYX Plexiglass Toilet. And then it's Don't Sit on the Plexiglass Toilet, said the mother to her son. And we'll leave it at that.
Now you can see why Dennis probably didn't like this record.
I think these guys were really stoned when they did this song.
Maybe.
Years later, I realized, they're probably doing, the Wacky Tobacco, and they're just having fun. And they recorded it and said, let's throw it on the record. But it's a weird way to end side one.
Not good, ladies and gentlemen. Not good. All right, so we head over to side two. Winner Takes All. Take it away, Davey.
Written by Dennis DeYoung and Chuck Lafrano, I guess a friend of the band from the Chicago area. But vocals by JY on this song. And I like this song. It's a good upbeat rock song. And the super high screams again, John Ciriluski, because JY ends, and then you hear Ciriluski just take it like an octave or two higher, just into the stratosphere. That's why when Tommy Shaw joined the band a few years later, they said, you have to sing the high harmony on Lady. Can you do it? And he did it. And they said, okay, we got the perfect replacement. Young guy, good looking guy. He writes songs. He can hit the high harmonies. He's in the band.
Yeah. But Winner Takes All, though, that could have, we're still missing songs. But I think if it would have ended side two with Winner Take All, I think that would have been a great way to end it.
Side one, you mean?
Side one.
Yeah.
But still, I think this is a great way to start side two.
Yeah,
Hit it right out of the park.
I wrote down it's an upbeat, positive rocker to start out side two. And listen to how the Panazzo twins propel this song along with the rhythm section. As I said last time, in our last episode, a couple months back, they're an underrated, telepathically connected, because they're twins, rhythm section. And there's some stinging lead guitar by JY as the song fades out a little too soon, unfortunately. But it's a good track. I always like this song.
Mm-hmm.
Then we move on to a song, oddly enough, that stayed in the STYX live repertoire for a bunch of years, even when Tommy Shaw was in the band. And this is unusual in the STYX catalog because it's a James Young and Dennis DeYoung vocal duet. And in the verses, they swap lines. And the song is called 22 Years, about 3 minutes, 40 seconds. And when Shaw was in the band, they used to do the song as like the encore. If you listen to
But that
bootlegs
must
and
have been
live
on
shows.
that must have been on the Crystal Ball tour, or it must have been
Well,
maybe not even
Equinox.
Crystal Ball. Must have been Equinox
Yeah,
tour.
definitely the Equinox tour. They still did this. And it's a bit of a boogie woogie number. It's a decent song. It's an upbeat rock song. It's just not a standout track on the album to me. I think the best part might be the alternating lead vocals where Dennis sings a line in the verse, then JY sings a line.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool. I like when bands with multiple vocalists do that, but STYX didn't do that too often in their career. This is a good example of that.
I
And
think that. Well, oh, I don't mean to interrupt, but we're just
that's
rapping
okay.
music. I think that there's a video of them playing Winterland,
Yes, the black and
and
white video.
you've seen that. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that this is. I'm pretty sure
In
'cause
the
I remember
encore.
on the encore, it's
Yeah.
there. So go check it out. The Winterland show out on YouTube. Check this out because it's just weird for them. I think once Tommy's in the band, for them to even play any wood nickel material, I just find it odd. But
Yeah,
whatever.
they dropped everything except for Lady. They haven't
Yeah.
touched any of the stuff in years except in an instrumental medley that Todd Zuckerman came up with a bunch of years back, but they haven't even done that for a decade.
Well, what was in that? What was in that instrumental medley? I don't know if I've heard it.
A lot of stuff that they never touch, even from the A&M years, more so just instrumental snippets. It's been a while since I heard it. I don't
Wow.
remember every track.
There
But
might be
part
might be
of
on
Put Me
YouTube.
On, I think
Yeah.
part of Put Me On was in there. And maybe a Shoes, definitely a bit of Shoes was in there. So like the deep tracks from the A&M years that we're going to get to in the coming months. Bill Trout, the label head, the head of Wooden Nickel, adds saxophone to this song, which to me is odd on a STYX song. To me, it detracts from the song. You've got two guitar players, you've got a keyboard player. Why add saxophone? It just comes in out of the blue. I don't think it's needed. So 22 years, definitely not my favorite song from the record.
No, it's okay. It's better live.
Yeah, on that live Winterland show, you're right. Then we come to Dennis DeYoung's favorite pirate song, Jonas Salter. And this is 4 minutes, 40 seconds. Now, Dennis wrote
I
it.
like this.
JY sings it. And it's another proggy hard rocker with a really good rhythm section from the Panazzo brothers. Maybe Dennis should have sang this song instead of JY. I don't know. I think, like I said before, he said, I wrote a song about a pirate on this record. I think he said that on Sea of Tranquility. So he's not thrilled with this song. The thing I do like about it, besides the proggy flourishes throughout the song, is the way Dennis plays the accordion for like the last 40, 45 seconds. Because that was his first instrument that he started playing as a wee kid. He started playing accordion and then transferred to the keyboards. So I like the way the song ends. There's some cool prog touches, some nice guitar playing rhythm work. It's a good song. It's just not my favorite from the album. I think you like it more than I do.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I think James Young vocals fine. Should we have had Dennis sing it? I don't know. I'm perfectly fine listening to James Young. So I think it's a decent song though. Should it be where it is on the track listing? I guess. I probably would have bumped it higher than 22 years, but I think it's one of the better songs. But the next song might even be better, you know?
The title track of the record, co-written by John Cyrulewski and a guy named Charles LaFrana. And John Cyrulewski sings this song. It's a hard rocker, again, with some prog touches in the middle section before it goes back to its hard rock roots. And the song shows off some great dueling harmony and lead guitar work. So this is the song on the record to listen to besides Witch Wolf for some great hard rock work, guitar work. And once again, they're doing some nice dual harmonies reminiscent of the Allman Brothers, Thin Lizzy, but it's not throughout the song, just certain parts. And Dennis is playing organ. It's a good song. And maybe this should have ended the record, not what comes after it.
No, but I think Serpent is a Rising is a good Cyrulewski song. I mean, it's like, I think you could sprinkle a little bit of King Crimson on there too, because it is proggy.
Yes.
I think that is John's vocals on it are fine. I
Yeah, he
think
sounds good.
the stuff that I think he's delivering on this record, other than plexiglass toilet, unless you like it, I think it's really some of his best stuff. Now, some people like what he did with Equinox. Yes, that wonderful stuff. But I think, as far as I'm concerned, I think he really does shine on this record with his material, other than the song about the toilet.
Well, they needed him to
I
step
do.
up because 3 months they needed material
And he stepped up
for
I
this
think it,
record. Yeah, he
yep,
kept them going.
100%. Yep, 100%.
But then here's where the record turns bizarre again at the end of side two, just like with side one. You get this spoken word thing, which is a little reminiscent slightly of some of the maybe early Moody Blues stuff. But this is just weird because instead of speaking it, like Ray, oh my God, not Ray Wilson,
Ray
Ray Thomas.
Ray Thomas, yeah.
Ray Thomas used to do the spoken word poetry on the Moody Blues albums, but he would speak it in an English accent, sounded good. But here, Cyrulewski is screaming.
Yeah, it's weird.
And they have a weird echo on his voice. Krakatoa. It's a song called Krakatoa. It's only a little over a minute and a half, but he's screaming it. Krakatoa, you've changed, Joe. And it just sounds so bizarre. And it's just very unsettling, I guess.
It's filler.
Yep.
But on the credits, Paul Beaver was one of the individuals. So was this adapted from something else?
Yeah, they had a hit song, or well, sort of a sub-hit song. In 1970, the band, pardon me, Beaver and Krause had a song called Spaced.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole ending synth thing, it's taken directly from the ending of Beaver and Krause's song Spaced. So that's why Paul Beaver and Bernard L. Krause got co-writing credit on it. And Cyrulewski gave it to them right up front, because this was on all the pressings that I can remember.
Yeah. But Paul Beaver is like one of the earliest users of the synthesizer.
Yeah.
I mean, he had something to do with Mickey Dolenz getting his synth on Pisces album. I know he is mentioned, I believe, or I've heard something about Mickey Dolenz talking about it. But even back then, and I don't know much about him, but I do know that something to do with Paul Beaver and the Moog synthesizer. He's one of those early pioneers. So
because I played the Beaver and Krause song Space.
Oh, okay.
Very weird. It's weird early synth stuff.
Yeah.
That was probably done in the late 60s, released in 1970. But I put Spaced Indeed on this track. And then from that, they go into Handel's Messiah, Hallelujah chorus for a minute and a half. And it's just the five guys in the band singing as if they're in church. And that's where Dennis DeYoung is playing the organ at the church in Chicago. And it's just a bizarre way to end, first of all, side one with Plexiglass Toilet, and then side two with Krakatoa and the Hallelujah chorus. It's
just some filler. And you can probably gather what songs we're talking about that were filler. There's quite a bit of filler on it. But, some of this filler's not as bad as what other people have probably done on albums as for filler. It's just kind of a bizarre record.
It is.
A little bit, what would be all over the place? Shall we just say that?
Yes.
Are there better STYX albums from this period? Yes, but the hatred that Dennis seems to have for this record, I don't understand, because what's really good on here is really good. And what's bad on here, not terrible, but it's just not necessary, I guess.
They could have made a shorter album, cut some of these songs off.
Could have been a great EP. Well, it could have. But I don't know, compared to, I don't even remember what we rated the other albums, because it was 2 months ago. We'll be back sooner next month. So how would you rate this record?
This is my least favorite out of the 4 Wooden Nickel albums. I'd rate it a 6.5. There's some great stuff, and then there's some stuff that just leaves you scratching your head. What the heck is this?
Yeah, but still, I can listen to it. It's not like I turn it off or I skip anything on this record. I think of the wooden. Well, God, I don't want to try to compare it to anything that came later. I'm trying to look at this record. We should always try to look at these records as they stand by themselves. So I'm going to try to do that. So I would say, based on what we get, what's really good is really good. What's bad is just mediocre, not terrible. I would probably feel comfortable giving this. God, I feel like that's too low. I think I would probably also go with a 6.5 because I was thinking maybe a 6, but I don't think 6. I think 6 is too low, and I think 7's too high.
Yep.
I'm comfortable with a 6.5 like you. So anybody down here, if you know this record, please give us your rating out of 10 and let us know briefly what you think. We do want to hear from you. But what can I recommend this? Well, for Witch Wolf, Grove,
Yeah.
Winner Takes All, Serpent, Jonas Salter. I think.
Yeah, those are the better songs on.
But I do like As Bad as This, but I like half of it.
Yep.
So that's half the record. But for me, there's nothing embarrassing on it. So I'll leave it at that. I think it's fine. All right, so the next record we're going to talk about is the next record that came out November of 1974. So we've got a little bit more of a break between records.
Yep.
We're looking at Man of Miracles. STYX is still on Wooden Nickel. This reached 154 on the Billboard Top 200 chart. Not much better performance, but Dennis didn't say he hated it, but I don't think he likes any of this stuff. I think this has a little bit more of a departure in sound. What do you think, Dave? Do you think
definitely?
This is
Before
kind
we
of
do that,
go ahead.
Just show off a couple of CDs I have.
Feel free.
I have an import. Actually, it's probably a bootleg CD. It says STYX Best Ballads. And it has some odd songs on here from STYX too. It starts off with Little Fugue in G, and then it goes into Father OSA, and then track 12 is Golden Lark, which we're going to talk about.
That is a bootleg.
A bootleg Best Ballads CD I got from one of my old jobs. And then I do have a Japanese import CD. And this is called The Best of STYX 73 to 74. And it's definitely a Japanese import. And it shows the record covers of STYX 2, The Serpent is Rising, and Man of Miracles. And then you'll see the writing is in Japanese. It's got a whole history of STYX, but it is definitely in Japanese.
It's one of those K2 CDs.
And I don't have the Obi strip from this, but it's on BMG, and it's 18 tracks, so it's a long CD. And it ends with Man of Miracles, the title track of the record we are about to talk about. So I just wanted to show those weird STYX CDs.
I've never seen those. How's the Japanese best of sound?
It sounds pretty good. It's been a while since I played it, but I pulled it out of my collection.
Mm-hmm.
So we move on to record number 4, also Wooden Nickel, Man of Miracles. Like the last album, this has 10 songs, same lineup. This is produced by John Ryan and Bill Trout from Wooden Nickel Records, engineered by Gary Loizzo, I guess is how Loizzo. Loizzo, something like that.
Loizzo. Yeah, he's engineered a lot. He was doing all the engineering from now on, I think, until he did everything. Barry might have too, but Barry might have co-produced. He was involved, let's say this, clear up until Cornerstone. So,
and then the cover art is by a guy named Leon J. Rosenblatt, and his initials are hidden in the beard of the Wizard. You could see LJR if you look closely at the album cover in the Wizard's gray beard. This is the last album for Wooden Nickel. It was recorded at Golden Voice Studios in South Pekin, Pekin. Am I pronouncing that right, Grant?
I'm going to go with that. Sounds good to me.
Pekin, Illinois.
Pekin, yeah.
And the first pressing of this album contains a cover of the Knickerbockers song Lies from 1965. The second pressing replaced it with Best Thing from their debut album, which is strange. And then going back to what you mentioned earlier, the 1980 RCA reissue with the cheesy artwork, and it's just called Miracles instead of Man of Miracles with a horrible cartoon cover. Blech.
Ugh.
For that reissue, they put out the unreleased Dennis DeYoung ballad, which we spoke about in our last episode, Unfinished Song, which is probably the best of the three songs. But we'll get to Lies in a minute. So that's the basic overview on the record. Side one starts out with the James Cyrulewski penned song, which you really didn't see through the STYX through the whole Wooden Nickel era. JY sings it. It's called Rock and Roll Feeling. It's a 3-minute song. It's a good opening track. More understated, excellent bass work from Chuck Panazzo. Just right on the first song, you hear him cut through the mix. Dennis is on organ on this song, and there's some nice twin harmony guitar work from James Young and John Cyrulewski. I think it's a good opening number. Not a phenomenal song like Witch Wolf, maybe, but it's a really good, hard-rocking opener. Great way to open the album.
Yeah, it's another rock and roller. It's a little rock and roller, Davey.
And it's 3 minutes.
The trend, and it's 3 minutes.
Short.
But I was looking over the song writers and the lead vocals. We're starting to see a lot of more Dennis now on this record. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying, Cyrulewski's not singing any vocals on this record.
Right. Actually, it's split between 5 Dennis songs and 5 JY songs on lead vocal.
So I wonder why that is.
They were the band co-leaders, I would guess. They had written the most material, and they were the two guys that were up front the most.
But based on what we see, I guess Dennis didn't really have much material for the previous record, and maybe after all this time he had written more stuff. Maybe that's probably the reason he doesn't like that record. He probably wasn't ready to record it since it came out so
3 months after STYX 2.
But anyway, Dennis is back in action on this record, so that's good. So anyway, just an observation.
And then the second song is called Having a Ball, and this is almost 4 minutes long. It's written by John Cyrulewski and James Young, but even though Cyrulewski gets credited first in the songwriting department, JY gets the lead vocal on here. And I wrote, this is a decent rocker in the number 2 position. I like the intro music before the vocals, some more elastic sounding, great bass work from Chuck on the song. And I think JC is doing the lead guitar on this song because it sounds a little different than JY's style. Once again, Dennis is supporting on organ. It's not an amazing song, but it's a decent song.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't have any issues with it. It's fine. It's just kind of more of the same. I don't mean that in a negative way. But if you've listened to the other records, it's just kind of more in that vein. But yeah, it's decent. I don't know, sequencing wise, I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. It doesn't really stick out though. Like you listen to Rock and Roll Feeling, that sticks out.
More so,
yes. It doesn't stick out quite as much. So, but that's fine. It's all right.
And then the number 3 song on side 1 is called Golden Lark. It's the one that I showed. That's on this bootleg Best Ballads. Dennis DeYoung song, written by him, sung by him. It's a piano ballad. And that's Chuck Panazzo. And you as a bass player could probably tell me, what type of bass is he playing in this song? Is that an upright? Is it a double bass? Is it a cello? But it's definitely him on that bass. That sounds like...
I'd have to pop it on to listen. But I do know that a lot of the tracks on here, because he was playing, when Tommy came in, you see him on stage with that Rickenbacker. I can hear that he's probably playing the Rickenbacker on the electric bass parts, because it's kind of got that Rickenbacker sound.
Right, but not at the beginning. I think he's playing a stand-up bass, double bass.
It probably is a stand-up bass.
So he's a talented guy that he could do that. I wrote that this is a haunting piano ballad. It's a little odd in the number 3 position. And then later on in the song, you get more elastic bass sounds from Chuck. Yeah. So I think his bass stands out. His stand-up bass and then his regular elastic Rickenbacker, as you said, bass for the second half of the song. And then it bleeds into track 4. There's also, before we go to track 4, some tasty synths from either Dennis or it could be John Cyrulewski, because Dennis is playing the piano throughout the song.
It's probably Dennis, I bet.
It's a pretty song, but it's just a little odd in the number 3 position that you go from these boogie rocker upbeat tunes to this mellow piano ballad. But that STYX. They always had this big wide range of songs.
And as we kept going in the future, you're going to see more of that. Not trying to be negative, but this kind of is one of those records where it's like, oh, you can totally see the progression, you know?
They were a progressive rock band, or they had hints of progressive rock. They were doing their Americanized version of the British prog bands, is how I always thought.
Yeah, that's what they were influenced by.
Yep. So then this song bleeds into track 4, which is called A Song for Suzanne, written by Dennis, sung by Dennis, over 5 minutes long. And it's an upbeat rocker, but it has this really cool intro. And Suzanne is, of course, Dennis DeYoung's wife. So besides writing Lady for her, he wrote this with her name in the title, A Song for Suzanne. So it starts off with what sounds like a thunderstorm and some mournful cello work, which is definitely Chuck Panazzo again. An upright bass, double bass, whatever the heck he's playing, but that's him. And then you get some nice bass work, regular bass from Chuck, and some synth work from Dennis in tandem, and it leads into Dennis DeYoung's vocals. And then the band comes crashing in at the minute 44 mark, and there's some strident 6-string, I use too many S's, some strident 6-string guitar work from JY and John Cyrulewski here, accompanying Dennis's vocals in the verses. And JY's vocals, once again, cut through the vocal triad on the chorus. You just hear him high in the harmonies there. Another outstanding bridge middle section, about 2/3 of the way through the song. And you get some nice power drumming from John Panazzo throughout the song. So I think this is a good rocker. And everyone who says Dennis only writes ballads, no. When we get to the next album, he wrote Born for Adventure. That's definitely not a ballad.
Well, plus, you know, Dennis gets a bad rap, Davey, because look at those last 2 Frontiers albums that he put out.
It's good stuff.
Great stuff. He shows a lot of different styles.
Mm-hmm.
So him getting a bad rap with the whole ballad thing, I just don't think it's... I don't agree.
I know, but we'll talk about that more in the future in the 90s when we get to
I'm just saying, look, he's rocking here. Dennis rocks. And he rocks a lot, so that's all.
I agree.
Leave it. I'm just going to leave it there.
Okay, you want to say anything else about a song?
No, I think you're doing great.
Okay, thanks. And then to end side 1, we get a 3-minute James Young written and vocal track called A Man Like Me. It's another boogie rocker. To me, it's average. It's decent. It's not great. Some cool guitar work from James Young. Good drumming by John Panazzo. I like the backing vocals in the song. Uncredited horns here from the midsection to the end. Very low in the mix, though. Is it Bill Trout? It might be the label head again. It could be friends of theirs. I don't know. It doesn't say. To me, this isn't the best way to end side 1. Not one of my favorite songs on the album.
Well, it's a rocker, though. I'll leave it at that.
It's upbeat, but it's not as good as Rock and Roll Feeling to me, or even Song for Suzanne.
No. But compared to the way we start off side 2, just saying.
Well, here's where we come to the song, the cover song by the Knickerbockers. They had a hit 1965 with it, written by 2 gentlemen by the names of Buddy Randall and Bo Charles. And Dennis DeYoung sings this cover of the Knickerbockers' Lies. Why is this on here? It's a cover song. They didn't have enough material, maybe?
I don't know, because I don't remember them ever really do it well. A blatant cover like this.
Well, not any big hits on the first album. All those covers were obscure songs.
But that was because the record company wanted them to do it. This, look how far we are. Oh, I know why. I bet you I know why.
Why?
Because the producers, John Ryan and Bill Trout, who produced the first record.
So more of the cover songs.
I don't know if that's what it was, but I'm just saying that might be part of it. Yeah. John Ryan built,
Yep.
So Could it be? I think that's right. Yeah, I am right.
Yeah.
Could be because they kind of got away from it and now they're back at it.
To
I
me,
don't
this
know.
starts off side two in poor fashion. I like the high harmony
Yeah.
vocals from JY and JC on the song, along with the rhythm section moving the song along. And Chuck P goes off on the bass on this song. Some high screams by James Young. So it's not as high as Cyrilewski, but JY is doing the screams in the middle and towards the end of the song.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's my least favorite song on side two.
100%. You should not have started this album with that. That is 100% filler. You don't start off your sides with filler.
And a cover song at that.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
And then track 7 is called Evil Eyes, written by Dennis, sung by Dennis. It's a dark ballad, great vocal here from Dennis.
Oh,
And
100%.
stellar band support. It's got those tumbling drum sounds. I wish they weren't as hollow sounding. I don't like the way the drums were recorded on the early records, but I like John Panazzo's playing. It's got these tumbling drums from John, burbling bass again from Chuck, and John Cyrilewski on the vocal harmony, that super high vocal harmony that goes into the instrumental break, and you get a nice understated JY guitar solo that's not too over the top, and it fits the song really well. And I wrote down it's a cracker of a deep cut here. I've always loved Evil Eyes.
I think it's phenomenal. In fact, I think if we could get rid of Lies, it would have been better to use that. What was the
Unfinished song?
Unfinished song. We could have probably sequenced this side, put unfinished song in there. We could have had just a wonderful side too.
If you start off with the next song, maybe as the side opener.
Now you're talking, Davey.
But then you've got sort of like 3 ballads in a row with Evil Eyes, Unfinished Song, and Christopher, Mr. Christopher, and maybe the other guys. Oh, we don't want 3 Dennis songs in a row, so who knows?
Well, if you could have started it off with Man of Miracles.
That's a great album ender, I think. Unless you want to.
So it starts or ends, I don't care. I don't know, but I think if we had Unfinished on here, I think either way, even though it's another ballad, it would have made this side stronger. We could have made it work. Anyway.
Yeah, we discussed Unfinished Song in our last episode. Another great vocal turn from Dennis DeYoung. Just a powerful, strident vocal. I love when he delivers a lead vocal like that. Then we come to another great JY song, Southern Woman. And this is sort of, I wrote down, it's another gem and the second best JY song here, probably after the title track. Co-written by James Young and a guy named Ray Brandel. James Young sings it. It's a super catchy riff rocker. And JY is firing on all cylinders on this song. Great lead guitar work after the first chorus that leads into the verse number 2. He's got really a killer guitar solo there. And I love that triad harmony vocals from Dennis DeYoung, James Young, and John Cyrilewski. They sound so good together.
It's phenomenal.
Another JY.
You look at Rock and Roll Feelings, Southern Woman, Man of Miracles. We haven't gotten to that yet. But for the most part, I think James Young is firing on all cylinders on this record.
Yep.
Wait till we get to the final track, the album track. Anyway, keep going, Davey. You're good.
And then, let's see, where was I?
Christopher.
Well, I just got a little more to say on this song.
Go ahead.
Another James Young guitar break after the second chorus leads into a sizzling Dennis DeYoung organ solo here. That sort of reminds me a little of Uriah Heep and Deep Purple, but that's where Dennis got it from, the greats, the Brits, once again. And I also like John's drumming on this song. So it's a really good hard rocker, and it's a great James Young song, another sterling song that he co-wrote. Like his vocal here, too. Really good song, Southern Woman. Check it out.
Yeah, top notch.
Yep. Then we move on to the next to last song, track number 9, written and sung by Dennis. Christopher, Mr. Christopher, 4 minutes long. And this is a Dennis DeYoung rocker about JC. Now, it's not our buddy John Clauser, and it's not JC from the band, but it's Jesus Christ himself that Dennis is singing about. And I love Chuck's bass on this song. And Dennis DeYoung's proggy keyboards throughout the song, he does some great work here. And that high falsetto from Dennis that leads into the brief guitar break section, that's really good too, when he just goes into falsetto.
Yeah.
Really cool. And then it's a great a cappella ending to end the song that leads right into the great title track to end the record. And this is another Dave Fave deep cut. Christopher, Mr. Christopher, a friend
Wonderful.
of mine recently ranked it very low. He doesn't like this song. He doesn't like the wooden nickel era, but to each their own.
Well, everybody has faults.
Sorry, JS. That's
well,
for
the
you.
thing with this, at least what I find with this wooden nickel stuff, I think a lot of people played it and they went, But the thing is with a lot of the wooden nickel stuff, and if you're a big STYX fan, it's nice to see the progression of how the band evolved. And really, they were pretty much, they sounded like STYX here too. Just without Tommy, but yeah, there's some tracks here and there that might not be up to snuff. But man, what is really great on here is really great. And I think Mr. Christopher, great Dennis. I love it. But Man of Miracles, I must say, probably out of this whole record, what a way to end a record. To me, that is the best track on the whole record. I don't know. Davey, what's your thoughts on it?
I love all of side 2, except for the cover of Lies.
Yeah.
Track 7, 8, 9, and then the last song,
Killer.
track 10. Mm-hmm. It's just about, it's hair under 5 minutes long, Man of Miracles, co-written by James Young, Dennis DeYoung, and once again, Ray Brandel. And JY sings this. I wrote, it's the proggiest song here. Stellar intro by Dennis DeYoung and John Panazzo on like kettle drums. It's just a really cool, different sound to start off the song until the whole band kicks in at the 40-second mark. And then you get Dennis DeYoung's organ sound that is totally John Lord from Deep Purple. Amazing organ sound. I wrote reminiscent of Uriah Heep and Deep Purple, Ken Hensley and Uriah Heep. You get those tumbling drums again from John Panazzo, and JY and JC are wailing on their guitars.
Yeah.
And James Young has a great lead vocal here.
Well, I'm glad you did mention Uriah Heep, though. That's what I'm thinking. Or the organ is so heavy.
Yep.
In fact, this whole track's heavy. Heavy, proggy, just absolutely perfect. I mean, as for James Young songs, now this is the way I look at it. You know, I'm not, Midnight Ride's great, okay, but this compared to Miss America, I mean, these two together, I would have to say are my two favorite James Young.
And I like Southern Woman, I think is great.
Yeah.
I think it's an underrated song.
I agree. But this is truly a way to end a record.
Yeah, this is a great album. And that's why I can't see it as the side 2 opener. That's just me. I know you said maybe.
Well, better than Lies, but we'd
Definitely.
have to come up with something to end it.
Maybe Southern Woman.
Southern Woman would
with
work.
A great bang at the end of it. But 3/4 of the way through, you get this excellent synth break from Dennis DeYoung, and then it goes into a frenzied JY guitar solo. And the way the song ends, just 4 great songs in a row, and it ends the album with that.
Well, it makes you want more, hopefully. You know, you want to end the record so the person's listening to it wants more. So Man of Miracles ending it, I think, perfect. Lies starting off side 2, big fail. But the question I have for you, though, Lies or Plexiglass Toilet?
On this album would have to be Lies, because it's upbeat, it's rocking, and it's got really good harmony vocals. Not my favorite song from the record by far, but...
And I don't think that this is close to being a perfect record. You know, back in the day, Rolling Stone hated all these records, gave them all 1 stars. They didn't like STYX at all.
Yeah.
And they were never critics' darling, so I
No.
get it. But for this record, I think also you could probably whittle this down to being a great EP.
Well, I mean,
it seems to be the trend with these records. It's not like we're talking Grand Illusion or anything. You know what I mean?
Well, this is 37 minutes long. So if you take away a 3-minute song, it's 34 minutes. And a lot of records back then were 34 minutes.
Yeah. But Lies is what brings it down pretty much.
And
But side, it
I
brings
don't
down
like
side two.
A Man Like Me is probably my second least favorite. Having a Ball, maybe my third least favorite. But Man of Miracles, definitely the best song. Oh, the last four on side two, those are my favorites.
So if you
Evil
trim it
Eyes.
down to the last four, Rock and Roll Feeling, Golden Lark, Song for Suzanne, I think, well, that's longer than an EP, but
It's
it's
just
still longer.
short 30-minute album from back in the day.
But is it better than, well, you mentioned that Serpent is your least favorite of the Wooden Nickel.
This one I would rank a 7.5.
And the other one was a 6.5.
Right.
If I'm going to rate this, though, God, Man of Miracles is well worth the price of admission.
Oh, yeah.
Just for that song. And James Young's performance on here, I think, is pretty damn good. But man, I do like what John brought to the last album. It's pretty close because there's still some great stuff on Serpent. So
I think
I
there's more
guess
good
I'd probably
stuff
give
here.
this a 7.
7. Okay.
I mean, none of this Wooden Nickel stuff's really going to go that high because I mean, if you look at Grand Illusion, Pieces of Eight, come on. I mean, they just got better as they kept going.
Yes.
But man, if you pick and choose off of all these Wooden Nickel records, you could come up with a solid 5 out of 5 record.
Yeah, definitely.
I think probably what brings them down are these fillers.
There is a good collection called The Best of STYX that RCA put out.
Mm-hmm.
I think in 1980 also, with the hand coming out of the water.
I've got it. It's on blue vinyl.
Flower. Blue vinyl. Yeah, I have that somewhere in my vinyl collection.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a great collection. It's got some of the best songs. Not every great song, but a lot of them.
A lot of them. But still, none of this from this Wooden Nickel period makes me just want to go into the corner of the room and throw up. So it's all worthy. If you're a completist, check it out. But there's so much great stuff that the band has just thrown aside. It would be great to see them pull out, play Man of Miracles, you know.
JY can't sing it anymore.
No, that's true. Jesus. Yeah, well, we'll never see it.
Unfortunately. And there's very little available on the internet from early STYX, from the John Cyrulewski Wooden Nickel era. There's only one audio performance. I think they were live in Nebraska. That's on YouTube. It's like a little over an hour. And then there's one shot of them, it's a live audio and video of them doing Best Thing outdoor in some park in Chicago in 1972. Just that one song and then the audio. That's about 75 minutes or so. Those are on YouTube. And I keep looking for old STYX stuff, and there's nothing out there.
Nothing.
It's a wasteland, unfortunately. And I know there are recordings, and the band is sitting on them. And because of the battle now between JY and Tommy on one side, Dennis on the other side, you'll probably never see this stuff.
Kind of sad.
It is.
I mean, BMG put out that, I don't have it in front of me, but the 2 CD set where was it BMG or was it
No, it's A&M.
No. All the Wooden Nickel stuff, 2 CDs.
Oh yeah, the Wooden Nickel anthology.
Yeah, that's well worth picking up. I don't know if it's still in print, but the last time I checked, it was a 2 CD set, but you could get one like off Amazon for like $5.99 or something. New.
It's a great price because it was a $20 list price, 1998 when it was released.
Go check that out if you want any of this stuff. Or you can probably stream it. I'm not a streamer, as I always say. So I'd rather try to get physical media and support the artists, even though they're in a battle, probably. So anyway, I'd say go check it out. Let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on the Wooden Nickel records. We will be back next time with Equinox and Crystal Ball.
Yes.
So things are starting to get together in the STYX band camp.
Yep,
So-
because they moved to A&M Records for our next show.
That's right.
And they got some money behind them.
Money helped them. Even though it's
sound.
basically the same people putting these, Barry Mraz, and it's all the same people doing these records.
But
with
they get
them.
into a better sounding studio and they had more of a budget to work with than on the indie label from Chicago.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, made a big difference. All right, Davey, anything else? What's coming up on your channel? Because I'm going to try to get this out. What are we, Tuesday? Probably Thursday, maybe I'll have it up. So what's coming up? What's happening in your neck of the woods on your channel?
Coming up on Cretin Classics, well, I just put up a review of a show I saw in 1992, the first in my Concert Memories series of Spinal Tap at the Beacon Theater in New York City. And I'm not kidding. They did a 2-hour plus show. So it's a 10-minute video. It's a short video. So go to my channel, check it out. That's the most recent thing I have up.
Cool.
My review of Spinal Tap. And I got backstage and met them after the show.
Look at you. You're like a celebrity in yourself. There you go. All right, everybody. Please leave a comment about these records. Subscribe to Davey's channel if you have it. And what's next in the Warehouse? What's next in the Contrarians?
A lot of stuff.
I do know that the live show and the Contrarians, we're back at it doing those. There's so much coming out. So just keep that. What is the notification bell? Check the notification bell.
Like and subscribe and keep the notification bell on for all shows.
Please
get all the alerts.
All right, Davey. We'll see you. Have a good one, and
thanks.
Keep it clean, Davey, for goodness sakes.
Bye, guys.
See you, everybody. See you.